Because the internet needs another tier list video, here you go. These are the current A tiers in the game with blossoming trees, minus Helion, who we'll get like in a month roughly. We'll go over him later though. We have the must-haves, the should-haves, and the nope. Save your materials for B and C, because Square thought it'd be a good idea to have A, Bs, and Cs all share the same resource. Anyhow, we'll try to make this painless. First, we're starting off strong. Batman drill, must-have. Sadly, he's a banner A unit, but if you have him, he gets a major Sizz Breath at a 3 range single target that occasionally puts to sleep. He gets sleep increase chance by like 10%, and then he counters if you attack him with anything 1 to 3 panels away with Sweet Breath, which is occasional by default, I believe, and that's increased by 10% too. So he's not super squishy. He can do some damage. He's putting people to sleep. Very nice. Dark Skeleton, good old Dark Skeleton. Should have. He starts off with a juiced up attack and a move from his tree. He's got a very powerful single target Zam attack, like a 270. And whenever he kills somebody, he gets increased move and agility for 3 turns, which I think the move caps at 5. So he's got like 1,000-ish HP, but if he gets a hold of somebody and kills them, which is easy to do because he's strong, then he's really going to get beefed up. So watch out. Gigantus, probably my favorite A tier. Definitely a should have. He's already super tanky. He gets an extra move. He gets a fan AoE slam attack at like a 180 potency and a bunch of HP and agility. With armor, he gets like 1,400, 1,500 HP. So all around very good. Very strong typeless AoE attack. Yeah, no complaints. Next, strong again, Green Dragon. Farmable too at that, from the Dragon Quest I Reminiscence and somewhere in the story. But he gets a 4 range, a fixed 4 range, major single target Frizz Breath. He gets Dragon Scale, meaning if he gets hit by anybody's attack or spell or martial, he recovers 10% of his HP. And I believe he just gets like 10% potency and MP cost reduction to any Frizz Breath. So very good, a lot of damage, a lot of range, a little bit of recovery. Striking Saber Cat, nope. He has like a major surrounding Frizz AoE martial. He gets a little bit of potency. And he's got good agility and a 4 move. He's not like super squishy. He's better at going in to kill someone, but not making an initial attack because he goes early in the turn order. You don't want to put him out there because he can get killed pretty easily. But yeah, he does a little bit of damage. He can kind of get to enemies easily, but there's just so much Frizz stuff in the game. He's just, he's the first official nope. So, Living Statue, definitely a should have. He's already pretty tanky. He gets an extra move. He gets an AoE surrounding himself, bang attack at like 270, I think. And then at the start of a battle, he gets increased, greatly raises attack, and I think he gets like a single move, something to that effect. No, I'm sorry. I think he gets +1 move on the tree, and then when the battle starts, he gets greatly raises attack for 3 turns. So he can get around, do a lot of damage. It's bang. Bang is kind of everywhere in the game now, especially there's a lot of S tiers that have it, both in spells and attacks. And now breath, thanks to Dimensional. Well, a T-shaped breath. He had a single target before. So, but he's far from useless, that's for sure. So he was already pretty tanky, so he had that going for him just naturally, as far as living statues go. Rector, which is a terrible name. He's almost a must-have, but he's a banner A unit. He's got a major whoosh that paralyzes. Let me resort the old phone here. His spell. No, he doesn't have an ailment tied to his new spell. He has an ailment tied to an existing spell of his, which can cause paralysis, and he gets that increased by 10% on his Blossom Tree. And when attacking with a spell, any of his spells, it adds an extra chance to very rarely paralyze on top of his new major whoosh. So he's pretty good. There's not a lot of whoosh in the game, so yeah, if he wasn't a banner, if he was farmable, he'd almost be a must-have because he can do good damage. He's got some ailments tied to him. So, speaking of spells and ailments, Cherry Evil Tree, whatever his name might be, is a should-have. As I said, he's a banner A, unfortunately, but he's got his existing spells had some ailments tied to it. He gets a major whoosh as well, and that can be followed up with a 4 range, like single target zap that causes, I think, blind or confuse, or can cause both at a very rarely rate. And he gets that increased both by, let me check the phone one more time here, by whenever he confuses their blinds, which his existing skills can do, including his new one, which I said is a major whoosh. That one specifically blinds. He'll follow up with an ability that I think both has a chance to blind or confuse, and the confusion rate for his existing spell that can do it, which is his 4-hit zap, is raised by 10% from the tree also. So he's got a lot of options for spell damage and a lot of chances for ailments. So he'd be really good for like a defensive team for Guild vs. Guild, for example, because he's going to do damage, and if he hits you, your butt's probably puckering, thinking, oh god, what's going to happen to me after you take damage. Boreal Serpent, definitely a must-have. Already fast, he's not really squishy. I wouldn't say he's tanky. Good agility, a 4 move. He has a moderate crack breath, 1 to 3 range, hits 3 times. When he does that, he can have all 3 attack buffs at once. I believe they call it massively raised. Yeah, greatly's double. And then he has potency or something to that effect also in the tree. But he's a lot of versatility. If someone's weak to crack, he's going to do a ton of crack damage. If not, if he does the crack breath and then afterwards he doesn't need to do crack damage, so to speak, he's got those super powerful rolling attack ability with now a triple attack buff on top of that. So no complaints. Excuse me, I totally burped. Silver Icopithis, whatever his name might be, he gets a major bang with the standard plus sign AoE, which I believe curses. And then he also gets a chance for bounce. Let me check the phone to be sure. And he's a default A tier. In the general pool, a lot of people have him. He gets a chance to... Oh, that's right. Much like Veronica, he has a very rarely chance after he casts a spell to do the spell a second time at half the damage. So with that, he gets 10% potency and reduced cost of bang only. Yep, bang only type. And then the bang spell itself with a very rarely curse. So there's a lot of potentially cool things with him, but they're all tied to like very rarely procs. So he's just kind of a default unit with basically a major bang AoE. So if this part of the tier list didn't matter, I would kind of like put him back here, so to speak. So Slimecicle, if he didn't have only 500 couple HP, would almost be a must-have. He gets Crack, 10% potency and reduce MP cost, and he guarantees the battle for 3 turns. He gets bounce, so you're not doing any spells to him whatsoever. Like I said, he's almost need like a separate tier just for him. So, I wish he's got a lot of defense, which is weird because he's got very low HP, but then you can't hit him with spells. So, but if you hit him with Breath or Martial, those are fixed, so it doesn't matter how much defense he has. So he's kind of in a weird spot. Fender Ghost, must have. Aside from his existing stun and defense lowering spell, he gets an increased chance to stun or paralyze. I forget exactly what it is. And he gets a major single target Zam. He gets Kazam, exactly. And then he has a chance with any spell that does damage to also inflict paralysis. Let me double check. Actually, it might be stun. But he has a chance to inflict that ailment after he hits somebody with his existing spells, including his new one as well. And the phone tells me that... Oh, it's stun. Excuse me. Yep, very rarely chance to stun after attacking with any spell, and then that rate is increased by 10% with one of his other passives on the tree. So he has a 4 move, okay agility, he can get around. He is super squishy though, but with a 4 move and a 3 range, aside from his ability to do damage, if someone's weak against Zam, that's a given. The ailment spell that he has, the stun slash lower defense thing is really good too, and then that's increased by 10% as well, so no complaints. This guy here, because he just gets a major Zam AoE around a martial attack and a little bit of potency and like an extra move or something to that effect. Oh no, I think it's like a very rarely chance that he gets bounce at the beginning of a turn or something. It's not. He's here. Tortured Soul, probably the one who can do the most damage almost out of everybody. He gets Kasiz as his new ability, 10% potency, so 10% more damage for spells all the time, and then 10% more brilliant potency. So if you're fighting someone who's weak against Sizz, whatever that damage roll is, and then the 10% potency on top of that, that damage is also increased by 10% again. So he can do a lot of damage. He'd almost be up here. Ooh, excuse me, burped again. But he's got really nothing else going for him. No extra move, no form of like defense or spell defense or recovery. His stats are all fairly average. Nothing really stands out. So, but far from bad, that's for sure. This guy, nope. What the game tried to do with him was pretty neat. He gets a major crack martial surrounding him, and he follows up with his own attacks. I think a rare chance with the snowball attack, which can blind people, and then he gets a 10% increased chance to blind. Blind is okay. It's almost as bad. Curse is actually better, because Curse, I think, has a 50% chance for people just to not take their turn. Blind only reduces attacks and martial accuracy by 50, maybe 75%. I'm not sure. But if you hit anybody with a breath or a spell, then it's completely, it doesn't matter. So it's what they try to do with him was neat, like increase his existing skill to blind, give him an AoE major martial, sure, and then a follow up with an ailment tied to it. So, but no sir. Helion will be definitely a should have. His new ability will be a 4-hit, 70% potency frizz attack with a rare or very rare chance to lower defense, I believe. He gets a higher base crit rate by 5% more, so 10 total, maybe 11, given what the base crit rate is. I forget if it's 5 or 6. And then at the start of the battle, I think he gets like 2 attack buffs, something like that. He already has a 4 move, already has good attack, already has good agility, so he's very front-loaded, like a Gorsby, ready to go, so no complaints. So, yeah, here's my list. Yeah, have a good day.